Okay, we go for the part 3 or the final part of the chapter 2, which is worldwide accounting diversity. Okay, so we already discussed just now in the part 2 the accounting model, which is we divide the accounting model by the cluster. So basically, there are 3 clusters or the country in the worldwide we divide into 3 clusters. Okay. Next, the financial reporting system. Okay, just now we said the financial reporting divided by the cluster, but actually financial reporting system is also can be classified by the judgmental. Okay. So this judgmental classification we said is developed by Knopf. So Knopf is actually try to combine both model and which is Anglo-Saxon model and continental model. So the Knopf combine this model, okay, and it called as a judgmental classification. So basically what happened is the accounting model that we divided into cluster just now is just summarized and reclassified by Knopf. So under Anglo-Saxon models, Knopf called this one as a micro-base, while for the continental European model, Knopf called this as a macro-uniform. Okay, so this is the picture or the diagram that explain on the Knopf judgmental classification. So as I said just now, under Knopf divided the financial reporting system into 2, which is macro-uniform and micro-base. So macro-base just now is based on the Anglo-Saxon, while macro-uniform is based on the continental cluster just now. So for the macro-uniform, it further divided into 2, which is government, the subclass of government and economics. So for the government and economics, the example that given by Knopf is the Sweden. While Knopf also divided the macro-uniform, which is actually the financial reporting system, is influenced by the governments, tax and legal. So for this section, okay, so this subcluster, okay, for this subcluster, it further divided into 2, which is law-based and tax-based. Okay. For law-based, okay, the example of country that apply the financial reporting system based on law or legal requirement is Japan and Germany. But for the country that using the tax base in preparing or in influencing the financial reporting system, for example, Spain, Belgium, French, and Italy. Okay. The second class that classified by Knopf is the micro-base, or the one that we refer as the Anglo just now. Okay. So for Knopf, the micro-base is actually divided into 2. One is the business practice and pragmatic, which is based on British origin. And another one is the business economic, which is the theory is the business economic, which is not actually the origin is not actually by the British origin. So for the first subclass just now, Knopf further divided into 2, which is under US influence and under UK influence. Under US influence, the example that given by Knopf is Canada and US. While for the UK influence, the example is Ireland, UK, New Zealand, and Australia. Okay? While for the Netherlands is neither US influence or the UK influence, but it used business economics theory. Okay, so this is the detailed explanation on the same explanation on the exhibit that I already explained just now. Okay, so this is the example. Okay, next, other than the economic, the cluster just now, the legal just now, we also said that actually financial reporting all over the world also influenced by culture. Culture will also play a role in influence the financial reporting system in one country. So when we are looking on the culture, we will look on 3 different theory. This is there are actually more theory, okay, but this is the most, the most model that being studied, okay, when you are studying about the culture. First, we will look on the Auschwitz cultural dimension, okay. Number 2, we look on Gray accounting values, and number 3, we will look on the religion and accounting. First, we are talking about Auschwitz cultural dimension. For Auschwitz cultural dimension, okay, it's originally, we call it as 4 cultural dimension. Okay. So what is the 4 cultural dimension? The 4 cultural dimension, we refer one dimension. The first dimension is individualism versus collectivism. Okay. So this one we are referring to the preference for loosely knit social fabric. Number 2, the second dimension is the power distance. Okay. Either you have a wide distance of power or very narrow distance of power. So this one we are talking about acceptance of hierarchy and unequal power distribution. The third dimension is we are talking about uncertainty avoidance. Okay, so we are talking about the society, and we relate the society with the comfort level, with the uncertainty and ambiguity. Okay. The fourth dimension is, okay, we are talking about 4, masculinity. So this one we are talking about the emphasis of the culture on masculine value versus feminine value. So as I said just now, Auschwitz cultural dimension started with 4 cultural dimensions. But as the as the time this dimension already been evolved. Okay? So it starts with the 4 cultural dimension, then it changed to they add another dimension, which is long-term orientation. Long-term versus short-term orientation. So it starts with 4 plus 1, so it becomes 5 cultural dimension. Okay. Then from the 5 dimension, okay, 4 dimension is just now plus long-term orientation is become 5 dimension. From the 5 cultural dimension, right now, Auschwitz cultural dimension become 6 cultural dimension. Okay. So, what is the 6th dimension? So, this is your study later on. Okay. You look on the what is the 6th dimension. Okay. Next, we are talking about the Gray accounting values. Actually, what is the Gray accounting value? Gray accounting value, it's not starting from the new or from we said the original ideas. But Gray accounting values more on the expansion of the Auschwitz cultural value just now. What Gray did is Gray take into consideration the 4 cultural dimension values that introduced by Osfit and try to relate these 4 into accounting value. Okay, so the original idea is from the Osfit. Then what Gray do? Gray just expand the idea and relate to it, accounting values. So Gray, according to Gray, the accounting value is actually recognize the accounting is actually recognize the value or the culture of one country. So that's why for Gray accounting value, okay, so they will go for the first, the proportionalism versus statutory control. So they are different. Number 2, Gray also talk about the uniformity versus flexibility in the accounting. Okay. Number 3, Gray also talk about conservatism versus optimism. Okay. And lastly, number 4, Gray also talk about secrecy versus transparency. Okay. So this is not new. So this is the expansion of the Osfit value. Okay. So as I said, Gray believed that national cultural value actually affect the accounting value. Accounting value of conservatism and secrecy have the greatest relevance. So, as I mentioned just now, Gray just extend the Osfit model. Okay? So, this is the framework for accounting system development. Okay? So, this is the different framework. So, basically, we said for the accounting system development, okay, accounting system is actually, we are talking about there are external influence that influence the accounting system development in one country. So what is the external influence? We are talking about forces of nature, trade, investment, and conquest. Then we are talking also that ecological of the country also will influence the accounting system development in that country. So for ecological, we are referring to geographic, demographic, genetic, historical, technological, and urbanization. Okay. So what else? Okay, into the more specific dimension, we also said that cultural also will influence, okay, the accounting system development. See, okay, this is the cultural dimension talking by Osfit. The cultural dimension is also will influence the institutional of the country, which later on will lead to influence the accounting system development of the country. Okay, and the institutional consequence also will influence the accounting system of the country. We are talking about authority, enforcement, measurement, and disclosure. This will link to this, will influence, and at the same time, this one also will influence the accounting system. So this is the summary of the development of accounting system in one country. Okay. Next one, we are also talking about the religion and accounting. Okay, so we are talking about the culture. Culture is different. Another one is the religion. Religion also will define the accounting system for the country. Okay, so for example, we are talking about Islamic religion. Islamic religion has a significant effect on a business practice. For example, we are talking about banking companies under Sharia, the Islamic law, okay, and human conduct, which is derived from the Al-Quran. Okay. So this is we're talking a simplified model. Okay. To explain, this is simplified model actually to explain the financial reporting international differences. So NOPS, this is also NOPS. NOPS, what NOPS do? Just now, NOPS do the judgmental. Next, NOPS also simplify the model to explain the difference in the international financial reporting. Okay. NOPS model argues that international reporting differs due to different purposes. For example, it said country financial system is considered most relevant factor to determine the purpose of financial reporting. Okay. So basically, NOPS divided the reporting system into two classes, Class A and Class B. So what is Class A? Okay. Class A, it said it refer to the strong equity outsider system, which is less conservative and extensive in the disclosure. So accounting practice that practice in this country is actually differ from the tax rules. While for the Class B is referring to the country which have weak equity outside shareholder financing. This country is more conservative. Okay, the disclosure is not extensive, and normally accounting practice follow the tax rules. So this is the difference between Class A and Class B. Okay, so this is further evidence. Just now what I give to you is the evidence of the accounting diversity. So this is the further evidence. We said that category based on accounting differences. Okay, financial statement formats, the level of detail, okay, the terminology used, the disclosure, and recognition and measurement. Okay, so there will be end of the topic. Okay, so this is also end of the part 3. But the other video will discuss, okay, there will be one more video which will discuss the tutorial question. Okay, so that's it. We will meet again, see you again in the next video. Thank you.